last 200 years. Now, like any other set of ideas, there's all sorts of variations that have been proposed. And there are many other teachings out there about how to use, they would call it homeopathy, how to use it differently than I've just described to you. And so as a kind of almost like a self-defense, homeopaths have said, well, what we're doing is classical homeopathy, meaning the homeopathy of the last 200 years, you see.
Original.
Based on those principles.
Right, right.
And then the other schools of thought have said, oh, we're the modern homeopathy, or we're this or that. And so it gets very confusing. And actually, I might mention that if anybody that's listening wants to have a better understanding of this in terms of working with an actual practitioner for their animal, I mean to say that they do want to have homeopathic treatment, if that's their orientation, not just holistic, but they actually want to have homeopathic as we're talking about. Then to determine whether the practitioner they're going to is going to offer that or not, you see, that confusion.
Yes.
There is on my website,
good.
There is a page that has a number of questions you can ask the practitioner. So how do you determine whether that practitioner is going to actually offer you this homeopathy or not? So that's very helpful to people if they want to go read that. Well, it's not accurate to say there's no research. There certainly is research. It's like, let me think a minute. The research that what people mean by the word research when they talk about medical research is based on the conventional allopathic system.
Yes.
And that is that, let's say that we're studying a drug that's used to treat the common cold, all right? So you take a group of people together and you've given them all the same diagnosis, that they have a cold, all right? And group them together, and then we test that drug on all those people. So the treatment is based on the diagnosis, right?
Yep.
And they're all given the same medicine. Now, if we go over to the homeopathic model, one of the things that was learned early on is that not everybody with a cold has the same pattern. Some people have a stuffed up nose, some have a very runny nose, some have a lot of sneezing, some also have swollen tonsils, some have headaches, and so they don't all require the same homeopathic medicine. We match the homeopathic, there might be 50 medicines that could be used for a cold, so we pick the one that fits that particular patient.
Right.
You can see that doesn't fit into the same model of testing.
Right.
So usually what has been done as far as research in homeopathy is kind of a hybrid model, if you will. They'll take for example, one study I presented in the course, if you remember, was done with people that have had arthritis. And so they grouped people together with that diagnosis, and then they had 2 or 3 of the most common remedies used for that problem in homeopathy that they gave to these people. And they got better. They were able to show statistically an improvement as good or better than it is with conventional drugs. So that was demonstrated that the homeopathy worked. It just wasn't the kind of study that we would do in homeopathy if we had our way with it. Does that make sense?
Sure, of course, of course.
Because it's based on a different model.
A totally different model.